Manx Radio's Update with Lewis Foster.
Hop-Tu-Naa, good evening. It's 5 o'clock and welcome along to Update for Thursday the 31st of October. Happy Hop-Tu-Naa. Time for your half-hour look at the latest news on and from the Isle of Man today. Coming up, Treasury Minister Dr. Allinson says efforts are underway to support young people suffering from long-term mental health problems to get back into the workplace. Paper recycling at Brinkbanks is being stopped from next week. We hear why. And we hear from a young man who's returned home 3 years after a road traffic collision left him with serious injuries. All that and more, plus business, weather and sport, and what to watch out for on the roads. Your thoughts welcome too on any of tonight's stories. Text 166 177, email studio@manxradio.com. First of all, Christian Jones has the headlines for us. Hop-Tu-Naa, Christian.
Hop-Tu-Naa. More details have emerged of the problem which has prompted the steam packet to modify the timings of its Liverpool schedule from early November till the end of December. The Department of Infrastructure says the issue is at the new ferry terminal is isolated to the front of the vessels, where at certain tidal heights, the most southerly fender on the mooring dolphin clashes with mooring lines. The statement has given no indication of the likely associated cost to bring forward an appropriate solution, though. 3 men have been jailed for their involvement in what police are describing as the Isle of Man's largest ever Class A drug seizure. 42-year-old Michael Bull was handed a sentence of 19 years and 6 months after smuggling around £750,000 worth of heroin and cocaine to the island in October last year. Meanwhile, Justin Fell and David Alsop were given 11 and 12 years respectively. Paper recycling at Brinkbanks on the Isle of Man is being stopped from early next week in a bid to save money. It's hoped the move will also lead to an increase in the amount of material being processed at the energy from waste plant. And the cut-off date for baby loss certificates on the island has been dropped. Manx Care announced last month that anyone who'd lost a baby before 24 weeks since 2018 would be able to apply for an official certificate acknowledging the loss. In international news, dozens of people have been arrested for looting and robbery in the east of Spain after flash floods caused widespread disruption. More than 150 people are known to have died. The Institute for Fiscal Studies has accused Labour of playing silly games on spending as the UK Chancellor defends yesterday's budget. The organisation says it's worried about the rapid cash only to cut back in later years. And a woman's been banned from wearing wigs in shops across Gloucester after going on a shoplifting spree. Hannah Roberts has been handed a criminal behaviour order which stops her from entering the city centre. Those are the Update News headlines, next at 6.
Grow my head. Thank you, Christian Jones. Time for the weather now, brought to you by Manx Glass and Glazing. This evening and tonight will be cloudy with some patchy light drizzle still possible, although most places will remain dry. A light to moderate west to southwesterly wind with minimum temperature around 9 degrees. Tomorrow will be mostly dry but still fairly cloudy and dull with the threat of some light drizzle, but not amounting to much if anything at all. A light to moderate west to northwesterly wind with maximum temperature around 14 degrees. Then remaining settled over the weekend, still rather cloudy on Saturday, but with the chance of some bright or perhaps sunny spells breaking through on Sunday. Light south to southeasterly breezes with highs around 13 or 14 degrees. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:20 and sunset tomorrow afternoon at 4:42.
Manx Glass and Glazing can supply and install single, double and triple glazing. Call 674 573 or visit the showroom on the Snugborough Trading Estate.
TE Carbon provide new memorial stones, grave renovations, new inscriptions and fire hearths. Visit us at Hope Street, Castletown or at Broadway, Douglas or call 844 440. TE Carbon, here when you need us.
Most builders start with a hammer and saw. Manx Construction start with ideas and imagination. For new build, extension or home office, Manx Construction offer full service from planning to completion. Call Tony on 452 688.
We all need peace of mind. That's where Peace of Mind Manx Will Writing Services can help you. From just £149 plus VAT. Call 671 001 or go to peaceofmind.co.im.
At Bond Fabrics, we're not just a fabric shop. As well as curtains and upholstery and dress and costume fabrics, we've knitting and crocheting wools, made-to-measure curtain and blind service, plus poles and tracks. Visit Strand Street, Douglas, call 611856 or see bondfabrics.im.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
The time now 5:05. The Treasury Minister says the number of young people in the Isle of Man on long-term sickness with mental health issues is really upsetting. Dr. Allinson says they're becoming more common than physical problems like a bad back or an injury. He says he's now trying to find ways to support them back into the workplace. The Minister told Manx Radio he doesn't believe anyone chooses to be on benefits for an extended period of time.
Nobody wants to go off sick. Nobody wants to leave the workforce. What concerns me is that we've seen over the last decade quite a significant change. It used to be that people had bad backs, broken limbs, sickness, disabilities. We've got long COVID and ME and a whole range of things would make them off sick. What we're seeing now, both here and across, is a lot of younger people who have got mental health problems, who, because of anxiety, depression, are unable to be in a workforce. And that really upsets me personally, both as a doctor and a Treasury Minister, because I see that as really limiting their life, their life choices. Our benefits aren't bad, but they're nothing to brag about. I don't think anyone would voluntarily go on to benefits long term. So what we're looking at is how we can give them the support they need through counselling, mentorship, help to get back into the workforce. Because I think everyone agrees that we need to put more resources into mental health to secure people's mental health. But we don't want a wasted generation of people who are unable to work, unable to improve their own prospects and the prospects of their families.
Treasury Minister Dr. Alex Allinson speaking on the Man in Line there. You can find more on that story over at manxradio.com. Now, paper recycling at Bring Banks on the Isle of Man is being stopped from next week in a bid to save money. It's hoped the move will also lead to an increase in the amount of material being processed at the Energy from Waste plant. Sean Cowper reports.
The Department of Infrastructure says the amount of paper being recycled on the island has fallen dramatically in recent years, and cutting the service will save between £35,000 and £50,000 each year. In 2007, 1,600 tonnes of paper was recycled on the island, but last year that had fallen to 200. It's thought the decline is due to the rise in online publishing and a fall in sales of newspapers and print products. Paper banks will be removed from the eastern and northern civic amenity sites, but the western and southern facilities make their own arrangements for paper. Residents who currently dispose of their paper in Bring Banks are instead asked to put it in their wheelie bins to be processed at the incinerator. The DOI says the carbon saving achieved through energy recovery at the plant will be greater than that achieved by sending paper for recycling. Curbside collections and cardboard recycling at civic amenity sites will not be affected. The department has also confirmed it won't be looking to make similar changes for other materials, such as glass and metal, as they don't have the same outcome in terms of carbon emissions.
Sean Cowper.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
That's right, and the time now 8 minutes past 5. A Manxman who's spent 3 years recovering in Liverpool after a serious road traffic collision says the love and support of his parents is what gave him the strength he needed to get through. It's been almost a week now since Lockie Kirk returned to his family home in Peel. In his first interview with the media, the 20-year-old told Manx Radio he's grateful for the help he and his family have received over the years.
When the doctors said that you can finally come home last week, was it a little bit emotional for you, or was it more mum and dad crying?
I wasn't, and my mum and dad were crying.
Lockie, can I ask, with all the work that's been done, has it been much easier for you to get around, to do whatever you need to do?
Yeah. Thank you all for supporting me and being there for me, obviously. Amazing.
Can I add that in?
Yeah.
How did you keep yourself strong during those, all those years and those months when you're going through rehab, when you're trying to build on your muscle and things? How did you keep yourself strong mentally and physically?
If I'm honest, my mom and dad helped, but sometimes when they weren't there, I'd be like, I'm doing good, but actually I'm like crying.
But here you are, you've done it.
I know.
And are you still keeping yourself mentally strong and things like that?
Yeah.
Great to hear from Lockie there, speaking to Chanel Suku, who's been reporting on his progress over the years and the work underway to create a suitable home for him on the island. What a big community effort that was. Wishing the Kirk family all the best. Now turning over to the business news today, we heard yesterday how the steam packet had modified the Manxman's winter sailing schedule to Liverpool from early November to the end of December. Well, today we've had more details about the problem. The company says the issue at the new ferry terminal is isolated to the front of the vessels, where at certain tidal heights the most southerly fender on the mooring Dolphin clashes with mooring lines. Both the Ben McCree and the Manxman encountered unexpected challenges when carrying out mooring trials at the company's new Liverpool terminal. The company says it's working closely with the DOI and the designers to bring forward an appropriate solution. The DOI has now provided a statement saying that as part of the process, a full investigation is underway. It says its priority is to establish a way to overcome the issue at hand while minimising disruption for passengers. The statement gives no indication of the likely cost of the work. The latest stock market report now from Ramsey Crookall. UK and European markets were lower as investors weighed the latest Eurozone inflation data and sentiment on the UK budget soured. The dollar eased broadly after US data suggested upward price pressures continue to ease. Oil prices gained after rallying the previous day on stronger than expected US fuel demand. And gold retreated, but safe haven demand prompted by a knife-edge US presidential election kept the precious metal on track for its fourth straight monthly gain. Markets at the close, the FTSE 100 down 0.61% to 8,110. The DAX down 1.03% to 19,058. A short time ago, the Dow Jones down 0.64% to 41,869. The S&P 500 down 1.44% to 5,730. And the Nasdaq down 2.34% to 18,171. British pound sterling trading at 1.268 US dollars and 1.185 euros. Gold down 1.73% to 2,738 US dollars, and a barrel of Brent down 0.14% to $72.53.
I'm running late again. Do you know where I put my car keys?
In the fridge.
Where's my phone?
Under the dog basket.
Bye.
You haven't forgotten that we're seeing Ramsey Crookall later?
Oh, no, of course not. 5 p.m. is it?
2:45.
I'll be there.
Life is busy. That's why Ramsey Crookall's team takes time to help you make a mindful investment decision, considering all the options, giving you full control of your financial future. Less stress, more assurance.
Forgot to put my shoes on.
See how we can make your money work for you. Call 717171 or visit ramseycrookall.com. Licensed and regulated by the Isle of Man Financial Services Authority.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
Let's head over to the roads.
Manx Radio Travel, driven by Quayside Tyres and Service Centre.
Starting in Douglas, Summerhill is closed between the Promenade and Strathallan Road for gas main replacement. Also until the 7th of November, temporary lights on Alexander Drive near the Woodburn, 24 hours a day for pipe disconnection there. Victoria Road, of course, one way still between Stanley Place and Broadway in a southerly direction towards Broadway for electrical installation works there. And there's temporary lights as well on Governor's Road, 24 hours a day to replace the street lighting. Down south in Castletown, just for today, there's restrictions around Castle Street, Market Square and the Parade from now until midnight tonight for the Manx Winter Fire Festival. In Foxdale, a section of the Foxdale Road is closed between the Tosselby Road and the Archeligan Road for resurfacing. And in Peel, temporary lights on Douglas Road near QE2 School for water main replacement. No problems to report this evening from the airport. Over at the sailings, the Manxman is sailing back from Heysham, expected to arrive back into Douglas at 6:12. Meanwhile, the Manannan is currently sailing to Liverpool, expected to arrive there at 5:30, 15 minutes time.
Ask how you can spread the cost interest-free at
Quayside. And the time now 5:15. The Department of Infrastructure has confirmed it won't be paying the Northern Civic Amenity site £67,000 shortfall after Bride commissioners left. Minister Tim Crookall has faced questions about this situation in the House of Keys. He says that the local authorities affected by the decision will have to cover it and any inflationary increases themselves.
There's a meeting coming up in a couple of weeks, which he and I and lots of others will be going to, following a letter from the Northern Civic Amenity Sites Committee in respect of Bride commissioners withdrawing funding from the Civic Amenity site. The Department wrote in reply to the committee, the Department advised the Northern Civic Amenity Site Committee on the process that it should follow should disagreement arise. The letter also advised that the Department has no obligation in respect of the operation of the civic amenity sites and that the Department would be disappointed if the Northern local authorities decided to close the facility. However, that would be a decision for the local authorities and not the Department. The Department has told the Northern Civic Amenity Site Committee that the shortfall of £67,000 caused by Bride deciding to withdraw its funding cannot be met from the Department's budget. With regards to rate setting for 25-26, the Department has advised that it would be prudent for all the constituent authorities to make provision to cover the cost of running the site, plus an uplift to cover the inflation and unexpected costs.
It's gratifying to hear the Minister is at least engaged in the conversations around this. My understanding is the Northern site is operated under licence from the Department of Infrastructure. Can the Minister confirm what would happen to the site if the Northern Committee did decide to hand that licence back to the Department? Would they be obliged to continue operating the site?
Not without a clear and legal binding funding mechanism from all the local authorities to contribute to the full running costs, the Department will not take over the operation of the site. But hopefully it won't come to that, and at this meeting on the 13th we'll be able to find some way forward, if not before. My officers are working with those up north.
Infrastructure Minister Tim Crookall questioned there by Ramsey MHK Laurie Hooper on the situation at the Northern Civic Amenity site. The time now 5:17. Public Health says it's not known how many cases of scabies there are currently on the Isle of Man. It says there's been a spike in the UK, as Siobhan Fletcher reports.
Scabies is an infestation of the skin with a tiny mite. It's smaller than a pinhead, so it's not visible with the naked eye. They burrow and lay eggs under the skin, which causes a rash and spots, which can appear anywhere on the body. The rash is caused by the body's reaction to the mite and the scratching that occurs. It spreads through skin contact of more than 5 minutes, which Public Health says means children playing together are especially likely to pass it on from one to the other. Symptoms can include intense itching, especially at night, and a raised rash or spots. Public Health says as scabies isn't a notifiable disease, it doesn't have information on all local cases. However, it says whilst not usually a serious condition, it does need to be treated with creams available at the pharmacy or from your GP. If you think you or your child has scabies, it's best to see your GP first to be sure. As spread within households is common, it's also really important to treat all family members in the household at the same time, even if they're not showing symptoms. You should also wash all clothes, soft slippers, towels and bed sheets of all household members at a minimum of 50 degrees on the day of the first application of the first treatment. Adults and children aged 5 and over can go back to work or school as soon as they've started the treatment, although it's important to avoid close contact with other people for the first 24 hours after it commences.
Gormayed, thank you, Siobhan. Well, if that report wasn't scary enough for you, how about this one? A Ballasalla resident says everyone is welcome to trick or treat or view his spooky-themed home tonight. In honour of Hop-Tu-Naa, Carlos Martinez has covered his my home with giant spiders and webs, a laughing witch, a grim reaper and even more. He says growing up in Spain, his parents always decorated the home for him, and he wanted to carry on the tradition for his children and the children in the neighbourhood.
Just do for the kids, you know. I know the kids love Halloween and I like all the scary things, you know. And I remember from very small kids, my parents do the same, you know. So I try to keep the tradition and do it. I know in Isle of Man and Hop-Tu-Naa, you know, and Spain, where I come from, is just bringing from America the Halloween. And I remember have a fantastic time when I was very small, you know what I mean? So I try to do the same for my kids as well, yeah.
How many days or hours would you say all of this took to set up?
Well, actually, we done on Monday. My kids has helped me. My two kids has helped me after, when I started school holidays. And we do everything in one day.
So what's the theme this year?
This year the main attraction is the Reaper, the scary thing, you know, and the little witch as well, you know. But basically, kids love scary things, so I try to make a little more creepy this year, something different, to put a little music ambiental as well, so we'll see how it's going. Anyone who want to enjoy this display can come in and welcome everyone.
Carlos Martinez speaking to Chanel Suku there. If you do go ahead and see his house on the Rietmai estate in Balasalle, I think you might know which one it is. Well, it is Hop-Tu-Naa, and Culture Vannin is asking island residents to help measure our cultural traditions. The charity is conducting the first survey of its type to find out more about those going out to sing across the island this year. We heard all about this last week, but in case you need a reminder, here's James Franklin on what you'd need to know.
So we've made it really, really simple. We have a small form of about 6 or so questions, and it's anonymous. All we need is just an idea of whereabouts you are in the Isle of Man, and then it can be just like a tally chart, really, noting down how many groups come, how many people, if they sing songs, what songs, do they have a turn-up. And that's pretty much it. It's just to get a baseline figure for going forward. And so this is available on the Culture Vannin website. Just download this sheet, fill it out, and send it back. It's a very low-level ask for people. But in doing this, you'll be contributing to knowledge of Manx customs and to Manx customs themselves going forward. This is an important thing, and if anyone can help, we'll be delighted.
James Franklin from Culture Vannin there. Well, the survey is all anonymous and just requires those involved to keep a tally of how many kids knock on doors this evening singing songs, moot in hand, of course. You can find all the information you need at manxradio.com.
You're listening to the Isle of Man's quintessential daily news and current affairs roundup. Update on Manx Radio.
And from one celebration to another now, the Hindu community on the Isle of Man is also observing Diwali today. The celebration is popularly known as the Festival of Lights, and it's one of the biggest on the religious calendar. Vishay and Cass Haricharan are members of the IOM Hindu Temple Committee.
It is effectively moving from darkness, ignorance into light.
On the Isle of Man, we get together in the morning, we start with prayer. We dress up in our cultural attire and we share with our family and our friends. It can be anybody, it doesn't matter whether you're not a Hindu, it doesn't matter. Neighbors, they look forward to us coming, meeting, greeting, having a chat, and it's a very social time as well.
I understand that there's an event planned as well to celebrate Diwali or Deepavali.
There's actually 2 events that are planned, and for no other reason except that the venue that we use cannot accommodate more than 100 people at any given time.
We have an event planned for the 2nd of November. And on the 3rd of November as well, we had to split it to 2 functions at the same venue. And so the first one on the 2nd of November is a fully catered and a more of a social dance and maybe a bit of fireworks afterwards. The one on the Sunday is more of a relaxed bring and share. There's no real cost or tickets as such. The Saturday's one is ticketed, so there's limited number of seats, as I said. Sunday's one, it's really a small fee just to cover the venue costs, but it's bring if you want to. There's no pressure, you don't have to. But come along, have a chat, meet some new friends, celebrate, dress up, and then it also shares with our children, family, friends what our function is all about, a little bit about the culture, what is Diwali, and so on and so forth.
Great to hear from Vishay and Cass there. Well, the time now at 24 minutes past 5. It is Hop-Tu-Naa night, which explains why Rob Pritchard is currently dressed as a bat right in front of me. I don't know how you fit through the door when you came in, actually. That is impressive.
Only over many years of practice, my friend.
Many years of practice. How's sporting news today?
Well, we're going to start tonight with the team of Sir Mark Cavendish, and they've released a new documentary showing the rider and the squad's journey to the Manx are making Tour de France history this year. Project 35 from Astana, Kazakhstan shows the team's journey through this year's event and its efforts to help Cavendish claim an unprecedented 35th Tour stage victory. The near 38-minute feature includes behind-the-scenes footage of Astana, Kazakhstan's work throughout the Tour and features interviews with Sir Mark himself as well as his wife Peter. Others in the setup also provide key insights, including Astana, Kazakhstan sports director Mark Renshaw, along with fellow riders Michael Morhuv, Kay Spall and Davide Bellerini. Project 35 is now available to view on Astana, Kazakhstan's YouTube channel. Elsewhere, Manx Powerlifting has confirmed which athletes will represent the club at this year's Home Nations Championships. Representing the Allinson squad will be 10 athletes, 6 female and 4 male, with the 2024 competition being held at Glasgow Science Centre in Glasgow, Scotland on Saturday the 14th of December. In the women's categories, the Island will field Joanne Kaur, Ali Egan, Sarah Glover, Kerry Kelly, Janet Pam and Liz Young. The quartet contesting the men's classes will be Sam Harris, Eamon McKiernan, James Wade and Julian Wilson. The Home Nation sees the Isle of Man come up against fellow teams and athletes from England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. This latest trip for Manx Powerlifting comes less than a month after it took part in the 2024 Commonwealth Powerlifting Championships in South Africa, where it claimed 20 more medals in total. And a young Isle of Man racing driver has taken up an important role in a leading youth work charity in Britain. Nicholas Ellis from Port Erin has become a young ambassador for UK youth and has been welcomed into the position by former Formula One world champion and the charity's president Nigel Mansell. Involving an open network of more than 8,000 organisations and partners, UK Youth says it reaches around 4 million young people across Britain.
Thanks, Rob. It's impressive how you did that whilst dangling from the ceiling, upside down the entire time.
Again, many years of practice.
That's it for Update this evening. More again tomorrow. Chaclair up next, then its greatest hit at 6 o'clock with Chris Kinley. Have a good evening and happy Hop-Tu-Naa.